a building with its double doors thrown wide, revealing a side-stroke fire pump with its brass fittings gleaming, a house bearing a doctor's shingle, L.D. Steele, physician, a school. Settlers were bound to come faster with the school, and a harness and shoe shop, of which Jeffcote took particular notice. Eventually he came to a creek, bridgeless, swelled with spring runoff, where a lanky man in baggy pants and knee-high boots filled his water wagon with a bucket on the end of a long pole. Painted on the side of the tin drum was the advertisement, "Fresh water delivered daily, 25 cents a barrel, 5 barrels for $1. Andrew DeHart's Sparkling Water Service." "Hello there," Jeffcote called, reining in. The man paused and turned. "Hello." He had a bushy beard and a great hook nose, which he blew, without benefit of a handkerchief, into the grass, leaning first left, then right. "Which creek is this, then? Big Goose or Little Goose?" "Big Goose. Around here we just call it Goose. You new in town?" "Yes, sir. Been here 5 minutes." "Well, howdy. Andrew DeHart's the name?" He nodded at the announcement on the side of his water wagon. "Tom Jeffcote's mine." "You need water, I'm the man to see. You stayin'?" "Yes, sir, that's the plan." "Got lodgin'?" "Not yet." "Well, you passed the only hotel, the Windsor, back that-a-way. And Ed Walcott runs the livery. Turn left on Grinnell." He pointed. "Thank you, Mr. DeHart." DeHart waved him off and turned back to his work, calling, "New blood's always welcome around here." The creek seemed to mark the end of the major business section. Beyond it lay mostly houses, so Jeffcote reversed direction and headed back the way he'd come. He found Grinnell without any problem, and a huge unpainted barn of a building with a tent-shaped roof, gaping double doors, and a prominent white and black sign up high above the hayport. Walcott's livery, horses boarded and bedded, rigs for rent. He turned up Grinnell to have a look. In a corral on the near side of the building, a half-dozen healthy-looking horses stood dozing in the 2 o'clock sun, their nose hairs touching the wall. On the far side was a deserted horseshoe pit, overhung by a line of lopsided cottonwoods, which spilled a patch of shade onto the street over the far hitching rail. The barn itself was an immense open-ended building, constructed of vertical weather-beaten boards and sliding double doors that stood open on both ends. Choosing the shady hitching rail on the right over the sunny one on the left, Jeffcote passed the open door, glimpsing inside the silhouette of a man framed clearly in the open-ended building, working over a horse's foot. His competition. He pulled up in the shade, wrapped the reins around the brake handle, pushed to his feet, and, with fists to ears, twisted at the waist. His hide felt stiff as wang leather. Letting out a great gust of air, he vaulted over the side. At the great south door of the livery barn, he paused, peering inside. It was like a railroad tunnel, dark and cool within, bright at both ends. At the far end the fellow still worked, facing the opposite door, couching the hoof of a huge liver-chestnut stallion in his lap. As Jeffcote approached, he took stock of both the horse and the man. The stallion was snip-nosed, broad-chested, and tall. The man, upon closer perusal, turned out to be no man at all, but a skinny boy, no bigger than a good strip of trap bait, dressed in worn blue breeches, a faded red shirt, black suspenders, an ankle-length leather apron, and a floppy brown wool cap with a button on its crown. At Jeffcote's approach, the chestnut nickered, dropped his forefoot, and belly-bumped the lad, knocking his cap askew. "Blast you, Sergeant, you ring-boned hunk of gleet! Hold still!" The boy cuffed the horse on the shoulder and centered his cap with a jerk. "You do that one more time and I'll leave you to take care of your miserable quarter-crack by yourself." He clapped a hand around the horse's off fore-cannon, forced it into his lap, and resumed wielding the hoof-pick. Jeffcote smiled. The animal outweighed the youth by a good 1,000 pounds. But young as he was, the kid knew what he was doing. Quarter-crack was nothing to fool around with. "You in charge around here, young fellow?" Emily Walcott dropped Sergeant's hoof and spun.